Although I'm a bit late for the new year, I've been wanting to do a video reflecting on Bite Size in 2017. Where has the strip been? Where is it heading in 2018 and beyond? Is there anything of value that can be shared for younger creators looking to get their work seen? If you've got a few minutes, I'm sure I have a few answers. For those familiar with the strip, or whoever saw my Q&A video here on the channel, it'll come as no surprise that I started Bite Size back in 2009. Back then, all my comics were published on my home website, studionj.com, where I handled all the updates manually using a junky HTML editor that I learned to use in school way back in 2004. Readership growth was minimal, almost non-existent. I relied on friends, family, and word of mouth to get my work out there. Kinda sucked. Years went by this way. Eventually, around 2015, I started putting my stuff on sites like Facebook, Twitter, and Reddit. There, a creator named Shenaniganson, aka Shen, saw my work and got in touch. I, of course, had seen his work and enjoyed it like thousands of other readers, so it was a huge treat to hear from him. He told me about a site where he posted his work called Webtoon, and encouraged me to put Bite Size up there, so I could hopefully get more readers. Intrigued, I said I would give it a shot. I uploaded strip after strip from my archive, and apparently was even featured on Webtoon's front page. The growth was excellent, earning maybe a few thousand new readers in the span of a few weeks. Finally, I thought, the strip I'd worked on for so many years was getting the attention I worked so hard for. That was until, either by my fault or some glitch, I forgot my username and or password, and I couldn't add new strips to the archive. Imagine my displeasure, struggling to sign back in to no avail. I tried resetting my old password, but then something odd happened. Every time I tried, although it said it was successful, the Webtoon site crapped out on me and wouldn't let me sign in anyway. What happened? I tried contacting the developers, but received no response for months. Frustrated and annoyed, I gave up on Webtoon and left the Bite Size archive unfinished. More months passed, and I had plans to exhibit at a small indie convention called Small Press Expo in Baltimore. Coincidentally, Shen and his friend also planned to attend as visitors. Being fellow East Coasters at the time, we decided to carpool together. With plenty of time to talk shop, I ended up discussing my grievance about Webtoon. Shen offered to talk to his contact over there and encouraged me to keep trying to get in touch with them. I'll fast forward the rest of this super fun weekend because it isn't relevant to this subject of this video, but two side notes are worth noting just for fun. Number one, Shen is a lot braver than me. I wasn't able to talk to any other creators the whole weekend, but through him, I got to meet a whole bunch of cool indie creators, including Sarah Anderson, who of course makes Sarah's Scribbles, and Abby Howard, who is one of my favorite contestants on Penny Arcade's Strip Search, and who draws books like The Last Halloween. Number two, Shen drew me this piece of art as we were sitting in the lobby one night just talking to people and hanging out. I have it hanging in my bedroom wall and I love it. I have never had a chance to really show it off, so now's as good a time as any, I guess. Back home after that weekend, I gave up on recovering my old Webtoon account and decided to make a new one. I posted 2 of my short stories, Whipped and Paris, in addition to Bite Size. The links are below if you're interested. I made certain not to forget my user info this time, fingers crossed, and haven't since. Although I was never sadly able to get in touch with anyone from Webtoon aside from a few "we can't help you" emails. I had to start the readership count over from 0 as of April of 2017. Here are some charts to show how Bite Size grew in Webtoon from then to now. I'm interested in studying the growth and discussing where it might go in the future. First, a chart of the strip's raw view count. In the first 2 months, Bite Size almost had 500,000 views each. That's great. Viewership slowed until July, then jumped, and eased off around October. Now, October is an important month on this chart, but I'll have to get back to that. Currently, we're sitting at around 2.3 million views. Here, the likes that the strip was able to acquire grew steadily at a rate of almost 25,000 per month, again slowing down in October. What's interesting to note here is how the strip was able to climb. I believed it to be word of mouth, and I'm sure there was some, but as we'll see in a moment, I believe it was because of something else. These are the subscriber counts, similar in shape to the likes. There was a hearty spike at the beginning, which I suppose was due to the strip being featured on the main page as new. I never checked. Growth declined until July, where there was a small spike, and then it eased off until October, where growth suddenly stopped. Interesting, right? This is the strip's rating. On a scale of 1 to 10, Bite Size hovered comfortably between a 9.2 and 9.33, which I'm really happy about. If any of you voted for the strip during these times, or ever, I sincerely thank you and hope that you continue enjoying reading it. Regarding the data this implies, I'm not sure there is any more to it aside from the obvious. Happy readers means a higher chance of getting more, which can result in more comics being produced faster. So what was responsible for all that growth until October? What changed? Certainly not the quality. To answer this question, I had 2 guesses. First, word of mouth stopped. That didn't seem likely because the rating didn't go down. Second, some type of algorithm was at play. For a while, I believed it was the former. Thousands and thousands of people use Webtoon after all, and some of my content has the potential to annoy people. A realization last month challenged that belief, however. I learned that Bite Size is number 7 among the top comedies on the entire website, based on total likes alone. What was more shocking than that, numbers 1 through 6 were featured on the front page at one point in time. In light of YouTube's notorious algorithm controversy this past year, I find this very interesting. And if I'm honest, I find it somewhat ominous. It means there may be people at Webtoon deciding which strips get featured, and more importantly, which don't. Let's step back for a moment. Whoever works at Webtoon, it seems to be one of those situations where you can't call them, they'll call you. I've tried contacting them on their site, through Twitter, and so on, but they ignore me. They must know my strip exists. More importantly, what can that mean for other creators? That no matter how good your work is or how many people read it, it may be doomed to go unnoticed by the majority of users unless you find a golden ticket in your chocolate bar. Can anyone really earn anything resembling a living by publishing their work on Webtoon? I don't know. The most important conclusion so far is that quality isn't what determines which strips grow on Webtoon, not directly. After analyzing the data I've shared, I'm sad to say what slowed my comics growth to an absolute halt in October was my upload rate, from 5 to 7 per week to 2 to 3. This is because, unfortunately, most indie comics creators create in their spare time. This revelation also has the potential to mean that some creator could draw a junk comic, which as long as it's updating once per day, may get hundreds of thousands of likes through sheer force alone. For those of you who were reading last summer, you may recall that a plagiarist was tracing over my strips, changing the words around, and almost had as much popularity as me at the time. I desperately tried to get in touch with Webtoon, who, again, didn't respond. It was only because of a sudden uproar from my readers that the plagiarists got scared, I guess, and took their strip down. I've been in the comics business for a while, and I could tell you, if I were working at Webtoon, this would alarm me. But whatever, that's their problem. Let's look to the future. Throughout 2017, I've gotten thousands of new readers, each with great comments and tons of useful feedback. It's been so much fun meeting everyone, and I'm grateful for each one of you. Most important of all, a bunch of you have supported me in the most direct way possible, by buying my books, art, and even donating to my Patreon. If it isn't obvious already, I'm annoyed by Webtoon. I have a suspicion that the reason they haven't featured my work is because they disagree with certain, shall we say, themes that I enjoy writing about. I have other similar grievances with publishers in general, but that's another video. Despite my pessimism, however, I feel really good about 2018, and the simple reason is this. I don't work for Webtoon or a publisher. I work for my readers. To that end, here's a little more data. Once I signed up for Patreon in June, my number of patrons fluctuated a little bit, but the amount they've found in their hearts to help support my work hasn't, not by much. Now in the grand scheme, this isn't a huge amount, at least not yet. The amount of time it takes to draw a strip hasn't gone down by much, maybe 3 to 4 hours each time. But I can find the time to produce at least 2 per week on my spare time. However, as I gain more support, the chances increase that I'll be able to produce more and more, maybe someday even full-time. Likewise, although I couldn't make a chart for this, sales on my Etsy store have also been promising. I've sold a whole bunch of books and original art, as I mentioned, and I'm planning to make a whole bunch of merch in 2018, including shirts, plushies, and so forth. Here's an example. My only limit is my high standard for quality. I don't want to make junk. I want to make stuff that's actually meaningful, not just slapping a logo on a piece of fabric, or paying some sweatshop to produce stuff for me on the other side of the world. Although I'm sure most of the people seeing this will be from Webtoon, I can't be sure if all my work will always be there. When I see some content being featured on their front page while others remain ignored, it tickles my spidey sense a bit. It is weird, isn't it? Why wouldn't a website promote some of their best content? Not that I want to sound egotistical about it, but maybe something is up. I don't know. Despite my many attempts to contact them, Webtoon remains silent. I still don't know who runs it or how. The only thing I know is that they're doing an awful job of staying in touch with their creators, the lifeblood of their website, unless I'm mistaken about something. At any rate, if Bite Size ever disappears off Webtoon without warning, I want you all to remember that I can be found any number of places on the internet, most obviously here on this YouTube channel, or my website, studionj.com. From there, a whole bunch of links lead to my Facebook page, Twitter, Blogger, etc. No matter what drama may occur this year or in the future, who knows, I do guarantee that I'll continue in writing drawing stories. The only thing that may change is where I post my work. No biggie. In the meantime, I want to say again how much I appreciate your readership and your support. Share the comic with friends and family, grab a book or two, and if you feel moved, maybe even give a buck or two on Patreon. While my full-time job is freelancing, I do take as much time as possible to work on my personal stories. The only question any given month is, how many hours can I spare? With your help, I hope 2018 will be my best, most productive year ever. I hope you continue enjoying my stuff, and as always, I welcome your feedback.